while I stand here reenacting 80s fantasy heroes. All right, so one question I've been asked a number of times as Russ from Winged Saber Historical Fencing. This is Make Cat Laugh Day. This is Kat, also from Winged Saber Historical Fencing. I've been abusing her with humor all day, and she's about ready to shank me with a cup of coffee. It works.
Sad waste of coffee.
It is. How can I thrust with a curved blade? No one could possibly know. Actually, this has been talked about for 5 or 6 years now. But what I want to talk about is how our lineage prepares you to thrust regardless of the amount of curve you've got. Cuvidias? If I'm going to throw a thrust at Kat, here I am, I have to pick a side. I'm going to go to her right. Bang.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very easy to land that blow because as I go palm up, she has to rotate a lot. And if I can get her to over-rotate, hi, eat cut 4.
But
Straight out of the synoptic table. Yes. Okay. If I want to get into a bind with her blade, I could threaten this way. And that curve makes it very easy to eat in there, get into the bind. There's a thing. But what if she's just going to come in and thrust at me? Step slightly further back, and then throw a cut 2 and try to gank me. Ding! Would that work? What do you think?
yes.
Yes. What about if I try to do it with this? Would that work? Uh-oh.
Double.
Double! That's no fun. So what can I do with the curved blade? Cut 2. I can get my bind and then flip it forward. I can time my thrust so it hits a different target. Cut 2. I can step further out of the line and then hit the target. But notice I'm still keeping that palm up when I make my thrust because that's how our lineage plays the game. If I want to bind with this blade, not against cut 2. Haha, no. Anytime I see her going for cut 1, look at how easily that falls in. Against cut 2, I don't want to do this. That heavy curve means this is a losing game for me. But if I parry 2 first, and I roll in, and I step in, I've potentially got lots of play. So I'm going to block and thrust in one motion, and Kat's going to be super careful. Cut 2. Da-na-na-na. And this is not even the in alignment version. Bang. What happens from here when I turn my wrist to make that thrust real? Stay still. Even though she followed me, see how I escape her bind? If I can escape her bind while moving forward, she has to chase this distance, but perpendicular vectors are independent. I can continue moving forward while she chases that distance. Sad day for her. So if I'm doing that to her, come up in 2, and I do this, she's not going to foolish me chase here. She's going to close that line completely with some other movement. She's going to cut 3, she's going to cut 4, she's going to do anything she can to, whoa, get the heck out of that way. Cut 4 high is one good example. Less curve. Cut 2. I can set this thrust up. If my bind is good, I'm probably landing it. But because I have less curve, I have less distance to play with on my disengagement. It still is very easy to track. I can thrust here. I can thrust here. I can thrust here. Remember, I don't dump my body weight into the lunge. It's a jab. I don't need more than this. Because as my body weight moves forward, I don't need to be doing any sort of Game of Thrones. It's an overthrust, and if she parries it, or if I slide and miss, I'm in a really vulnerable position. Because this is a rotational thrust, all I have to do is be familiar with my curve, and I can land that same curve, I can land that same curve, I can land that same curve, different curve. Oh, that's a weird curve. Why on earth would I do that? To set up other things. So you can very, very easily accommodate the fact that there are lots of different curved sabers. Some have a uniform curve. Some are pretty much straight until they get to here and then curve a lot. Once you thrust enough and practice turning that hand over enough to where you know where your hand has to be to position the tip, you are so trusting. I didn't even blow up your home planet. You can get to where you can place a thrust no matter how curved your saber is. Roman's laughing in the background. The dime just dropped. He got the joke. All right. Any questions on your side?
No.
All right. Have fun. Go do the thing. Shankly. We've got more videos and content coming, so if you liked what you saw and it was useful for you, please stab the like button, /subscribe, and punch the little bell icon so that you're notified immediately when new content comes available. Thanks, and go do the thing.